Hello guys, I'm so excited that finally I have just received my new book, The Bible of Bodybuilding. It's a book that consists of 400 pages. You can purchase this book on Amazon, and this book contains my former books, The PDs Used in Sports and the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, plus the Training, Nutrition, Supplementation, but also including extra features, Q&As about gear, about HRT, but also a quiz regarding supplements, diet, and of course PEDs. So the Bible of Bodybuilding on Amazon, both on ebook and Kindle version.
Hey everybody, welcome to Ask Dr. Testosterone, starring Dr. George Toulianos and brought to you by his great new book, The Bible of Bodybuilding, available on Amazon.com. If you're on Amazon getting bodybuilding books, go ahead and get mine, Real Bodybuilding. What an amazing book. And now, all the way from Athens, Greece, please welcome the good Dr. George Toulianos. How are you, George?
Hello, Ron. Less than 20 days, 2.5 weeks until the Arnold. Yeah, I got the same shirt. So hopefully I'm going to do some new friends over with Rich Gaspari, Monica Brandt, and see old friends like Frank Sepe and Milo Sarchev, of course, the Muscular Development crew, yourself, Rick, hopefully Steve, the boss.
Yeah, hopefully. And
of course, the hot favorite, Brandon Curry. I'm bringing him my Bible and also pure virgin olive oil. I'm going to give him to the meet and greet, you know. And I want to purchase the O15 supplements by... because of course we don't have them in Europe, you know.
Yeah, you gotta try the bar. I can't remember. It's called is it called the O bar? I don't know. It's this massive bar. It's like a whole meal. It's like a brick.
Yeah. Speaking of bars, I'm meeting in a little bit of Red Con or Rich Piana some bars because now, you know, I broke the 200 bar. I'm 199 today.
Wow.
And yeah, I'm really lean. You see.
Yeah. When was the last time? When was the last time you were under 200 pounds? How many years ago?
8 years exactly.
Wow.
8 years. I was as I was preparing, you know.
It's a weird, isn't it crazy? Like when you haven't been that light in a long time, it just feels weird to be light.
But you know what, Ron? I downsized all my suits, my costumes. Now I'm not allowed to gain weight again.
You don't have your fat suits like in a closet somewhere? Your fat clothes?
I mean, all of them are downsized now. I went to the tailor twice.
Oh no! Now you can't bulk up again. What are you gonna do? Shouldn't have done that.
I mean, I believe that as we age, we need to downsize a bit, and you should also do it because you look, apart from you know, more attractive, leaner. At 215, you look fantastic.
Yeah. No, I agree. And plus sleep apnea. I don't know. Do you ever deal with sleep apnea when you're heavier?
Not anymore. Seriously, not anymore because my neck is smaller, you know, so I don't catch myself waking up, you know. So I also don't have a short breath when I'm taking the stairs, you know.
Oh, I mean, I don't either, but you know, some guy on YouTube, and I don't know if he'll watch this, but he says if I was really healthy, I'd be able to run a marathon. I said, dude, come on. I can't run down.
No, marathon is something extreme like bodybuilding. In its preparation, is not something easy, you know, and it stresses a lot of all those systems.
Yeah, I would need a whole brand new
knee. If you run generally, marathon is the Super Bowl, is like the Olympia of runners, you know. So give it a break because you may go to the hospital.
Well, I'm not. Don't worry. I would never even attempt it. I have no interest in running a marathon, which began in Greece. Marathon is that the name of an island? It was a battle, right? Marathon.
Yes, yeah. With the Persians and the Greeks.
Right, and the guy ran 26.2 miles.
The soldier left marathon towards Athens, 26 miles with all of his, you know, how you call it?
His armor.
Helmet and stuff.
He should have taken that suit off.
And when he brought the message, he died,
Terrible, and that's how marathons began, people. Like 3,000 years, 4,000 years ago. I don't know, it was a long time ago. So... All right. Well, Dr.
It was actually,
you know,
3,500 years ago.
3,500 years ago. Wow.
But 2,500 years ago.
2,500. Okay, that's still a long time ago. Well, before we were born. All right. Let's get some good questions here. Number one, doctor, can Chrysin be used as an aromatase inhibitor? What dosage do you recommend? And are there any side effects? Is it safer than pharmaceutical AIs?
Oh, come on. I wouldn't dare to say it's comparable to aromatase inhibitor. It just has some anti-estrogenic activity, you know. It was sold a couple of decades ago in the late 90s by ProLab Nutrition.
Yeah.
And now it's available by compounding pharmacy at 500 milligrams, I guess. I've tried it in combinations with DIM. DIM is a compound substance that comes from broccoli, has anti-estrogenic activity. But seriously, I used both of them, and I couldn't say that I can replace my Arimidex.
Yeah.
So
it's like
you can try this along with zinc that has also anti-estrogenic activity at 50 milligrams of zinc, which is a high dose. And let's see how is it. But the less fat storage you have, the less likely to produce estrogens. The less coffee you drink, the less alcohol you drink, and the smaller doses of testosterone you do, the macro dosing, you know.
Yeah. So, you know, using Chrysin as an aromatase inhibitor, it's kind of like expecting
as anti-estrogen mainly, you know, because an
yeah.
aromatase inhibitor means it cuts off the enzyme, which is something very specific.
Gotcha. But it's, you know, it's like comparing a test booster, a natural test booster like Tribulus to Testcypionate or something. It's not going to be anywhere near the same.
Exactly. So it's a pharma against the herb, you know. So we cannot fight a bazooka with a knife, you know.
I'm going to say we can't fight big pharma. All right. Clenbuterol. This is a good question. Does Clenbuterol cause nerve pain or tendon pain? Is that a proven rare side effect of it? Did you ever have issues of that kind while you were on it? I never experienced anything like that. Did you?
Never. No. Trembling, shivering.
Yeah. This is about it.
Restlessness, short of breath, horrible cervical pain.
Oof.
Yeah. And insomnia, of course. Sweating, all these things, you know, it makes you real restlessness. I mean, it's not comfortable how you feel with Clenbuterol, you know, Clenbuterol.
Yeah. So women have bad cervical pain from that?
No, cervical mean back in your head.
Oh, I'm thinking
over here, yeah.
Okay.
Not down in the
cervix.
In the Italia. No, over here in the neck.
I was going to say
in the neck because of the blood pressure.
Okay, because I have one of those. I have a cervical spine, but I don't have a cervix, so I got to worry. Okay, yeah, I never heard of nerve pain, tendon pain. I've never heard anyone talk about that. No.
No.
So whatever it is, sir, it's not related to your Clenbuterol use.
And cramping also, cramping.
Yeah.
I remember my toes were cramping back in my soles, you know.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's because you probably were too lean. Because like Dorian used to say.
I guess it has to do with electrolytes, perhaps potassium. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I remember Dorian used to complain. He said when he was super lean, there was no fat on the bottom of his feet.
Yeah. Well, there was no fat pad. He was aching and he was walking on the floor, you know.
I don't know if I've ever been that lean where the bottom of my feet were ripped.
He was very heavy also. He was 260 with a 3%, 4%. It's crazy.
That's a lot to put on your feet. All right, next up, I am 50 years old and recently visited the urologist, got my blood, said everything is normal. I told him I used to do 100 milligrams test enanthate as TRT, but they said, stop doing it. By the way, I'm Dr. T patient, and he advised me to take 100 grams test divided in 2 weeks. So shall I listen to Dr. T or those urologists?
So what is the question here?
So this is a guy who claims, I should have copied the name down. I don't usually put the names because a lot of people don't want their names said. He claims.
Never mind.
Yeah, but he says he was doing TRT, 100 milligrams enanthate, divided 2 a week, 50 and 50. But his urologist, even though his blood work is normal, told him to stop doing his TRT. I don't know why.
Why? I mean, listen, this is when you don't produce. I mean, how can you justify this decision? Stop it. Man, I don't produce. Can you imagine this? Can you realize I'm hypogonadal?
Yeah.
What's the problem?
Well, I mean, couldn't this...
It's not something you do it for fun, you know, because I want to get laid or get jacked or lift or look leaner. It's simply because you don't produce. So it's a replacement therapy and end of discussion.
So, sir, I mean, why doesn't he just have you talk to this urologist? if he's a patient of yours.
What is the problem with the urologist? I mean, is this prejudice and skepticism against testosterone?
Probably.
Is it his PSA? I don't know.
That's when he says everything is okay with his blood work. That's why I'm like, really, why would
I need to see everything is okay. But even if there was something, a deviation, we can fix this. But certainly you cannot come off of testosterone when your hypophysis and your testicles are dead.
Right. Yeah. So I would say to this guy, if you can't explain it that way to your urologist, well, you know what? Urologist can't make him stop doing it. He can still continue doing it on his own. And
perhaps he has some hesitations, the urologist, but he needs to clarify and give more information. What was the issue?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And of course, he was using testosterone because he was in first place hypogonading. Otherwise, I don't think it's necessary to use testosterone out of the blue,
Yeah. You don't advocate, you treat patients who use.
Yeah. Apart from cycles,
right.
Replacement therapy is something for life. Right. You never stop it. Yeah. Because you cannot live without it. That's it.
Which is, it's crazy when some people find out someone's on TRT and they go, "Oh, you're on steroids?" That's like, no, you're not.
Even cortisone is a steroid. Come on, even vitamin D is a steroid molecule, cholesterol. But they think that you're cheating. The point is, when you lack of something and you replace it, you come to the same level of the others that they don't lack of it.
Yeah.
It's like being a diabetic.
Right. Diabetics need insulin. People who are
so do they cheat and they get bulkier than the regular people? Come on.
I don't see too many huge jack diabetics. No. All right. So this one is, when you guys discussed the question, was there anything you can take for tendon and ligament and or cartilage repair? I always thought Anavar would be a great compound because they prescribe it to burn victims, bedridden patients, and body wasting diseases, crushed limbs. If I recall correctly, some of the literature I've read in the past, they believe it is able to not only recover muscle tissue, but the connective tissue for the tendons and ligaments. I could be wrong, but I'll research to see if I can find good info on it. If so, I'll plug it in. I was just wondering what your thoughts are. Anavar for tendon and ligament repair. Have you ever heard of that?
Now, steroids generally, yes, they build tissues and connective tissue. Okay. And actually, stanozolol or winstrol is notorious for this. There are some scientists on the PubMed, but the problem is that it dries out synovial cavities, it's liver toxic, it's lipid toxic. The same goes with Anavar. So why not to use nandrolone, which is not toxic at all? It's also injectable, and it lasts more in your system. And yes, use decadurabolin, for instance. Now in burns, you need to you have open wounds in the skin, so it is connective tissue, but there's no ligaments necessarily. So it's just the epidermis, the skin, Yeah. So I guess in burns, yeah, you may use oxandrolone, but if you have some tendon rupture, I guess DECA or winstrol could be preferable. But generally, yes, steroids build tissues. The point is, ligaments and tendon are the endings of the muscles where the joints where the muscles are attached to the bone. Yep. And it's something different than healing a wound out of a burn, that has to cover up the open wound of the skin, Yeah. So I guess Anavar is good for burns, but mainly for tendon ruptures, could be GH with DECA,
Yeah. I mean, GH is supposed to be good for.
GH is perfect for tendons and ligaments because through IGF-1, it boosts the chondroblasts, the premature chondrocytes that make connective tissue, and chondros in Greek means cartilage.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. Next one is, doctor, I'm on TRT at 140 milligrams a week. I need to run anastrozole to keep my E2 in range. I tried to use Primo at a 2-to-1 ratio, 280 milligrams Primo to 140 test, but I need to take an AI whatsoever. I'm not sure what he means there. Do you think it is safe to take? I
don't find a reason. Yeah.
Okay, so he wants to know, is it safe to take an AI on a long run with my TRT, 1 milligram per week divided into, and keep my E2?
Well, 140 milligrams are not a lot. So it depends also. if you split this dose, it's preferable to split this dose rather than one higher. So how's your body fat? If you drink alcohol, if you take caffeine, that also increase estrogens. And if you take soy, of course, that also is estrogenic. But I don't find any particular reason to use Primo, except that you want to lower your SHBG. That can also be lowered by testosterone. So Primo, first of all, it's very hard to find pharmaceutical grade. It's a weak steroid. It's an DHT derivative that can lower SHBG, but it can give you also hair thinning and perhaps some prostatic enlargement. And I would prefer to add some Muscular or DHT cream itself if you want to increase your free testosterone. Now, 140 milligrams of testosterone, I don't think necessarily would need an aromatase inhibitor. Work by evidence always, by lab work, and see the day before the shot or just before the shot, the day of the injection, measure your estrogen. So we need to see them at the highest level. And also what it matters, you have to know, is the ratio between total and free testosterone, of course, and estradiol. So if your total testosterone is over the range, let's say over 1,000, don't panic if your estradiol also is slightly elevated, as long as you don't have soreness in lupus. The problem, I said, the problem arises when you have high to and moderate testosterone. So they don't follow, right, progressively. So high estrogen with low testosterone, this is where the gyno begins. Okay, if it's high testosterone, it's reasonable to have a higher estradiol, not super high, but proportionally.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what mine. I just got blood work done a few days ago. The results should be coming in next couple of days.
We need to have a show, a live perhaps.
Not live. I gotta have time to edit if need be. All right, Gus Poulos from Gus Poulos. Hello, doctor. I'm helping a bikini competitor do her first show. I've got the training covered with her. I just need your help with what gear I should put her on for a 12-week prep. She's 24 years old. If she does good, who knows? Maybe I'll get lucky. LOL. Oh boy, where do we begin?
Okay, as I comprehensively described in Lauren Lauter show last year, Giles Tiger, a girlfriend,
Yep.
It's from UK. So for the bulking, we have 2 months, 4 weeks of 50 milligrams, let's say, nandrolone decanoate, and another 8 weeks, and another 4 weeks, I'm sorry, of methanol and enanthate, which is Primo.
Yep.
Okay, and then we switch to the cutting phase with 4 weeks of Winstrol and another 4 weeks of Anavar. This is a very mild, moderate dose, cycle.
Yeah.
Now, Winstrol and Anavar can be taken 10 milligrams 3 times a day in order to avoid the side effects, and the half-life and the least dose.
Yeah.
But you can also do a stacking. So Primo and Deca once a week, and then Anavar and Winstrol together for another month,
Okay.
During the cutting phase. And of course, you can use 1 IU, AM, PM, GH all the way. Take it easy with aromatase inhibitors, of course, perhaps a little bit of Novodex because you're going to mess up the menstrual cycle. So the very low androgenic and non-toxic steroids, pharmaceutical grade, Deca, Primo, Winstrol, Anavar, legitimate sources. Don't touch any mastodon, don't touch any Ecupulse because we don't know the origin, if they're legitimate, and no Mesterol itself,
Yeah.
And some Clenbuterol perhaps, and perhaps some Cytomel, T3, T4, low dose, 25. That's all.
Okay, cool. Next one is the HCG question. I take 500 of IU HCG weekly at once. It comes in a 5,000 IU bottle, and I put it in a single syringe, which I use for 10 weeks, keeping it in the fridge. Will it happen an infection? So he wants to know, will it get infected, the HCG, during the 10-week period, or I don't have to worry?
If it's refrigerated, I don't think so. Why not?
I mean,
Why?
10 weeks. It's like 2.5 months he's keeping this thing in the refrigerator when it's been opened. But yeah, I would be worried about 5,000. I just want to know why he keeps using the same syringe. Why don't you at least use different syringes? I wouldn't
The
want
needle, the needle. You change the needle.
maybe
yeah.
changes. I hope he at least change a needle head because that's going to get dull after a few sticks in your body. I don't care.
Yeah, really. If you pin a lot, then it's not so sharp,
Yeah.
and it's more painful pinning yourself.
You'd be like sitting there trying to. You need a hammer to get that thing in.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Last one, Dr. T. I just had my prostate removed due to cancer. I'm 57 years old. I would like to know, does my TRT regimen change? I was taking a 0.5 ml of enanthate and 0.2 of DECA every 5 days before the surgery. Also, will my DHT conversion be affected in any way? Thank you for any advice.
I think you should monitor very thoroughly your PSA. It has to be close to zero, you know. So usually DECA does not affect its metabolites to the hydronandrolone. Now about the DHT conversion, you can still use the 5-aerodictase inhibitors like FINA or DUTA. But since you have prostatectomy, you don't have a gland, so why to take them? I mean, but you have to check out your PSA not to elevate, because sometimes there are some remnant of tissue into the pelvic cavity, you know, and perhaps it can increase it out of nowhere, and there are some left remnants, you know, of prostatic tissue.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's why they try to get all the cancerous tissue, but sometimes they don't get every last bit, and it comes back, right? Yeah, that's scary.
That's why you bump it then with radiation, you know,
right.
or chemotherapy, you know.
Yeah, chemo's rough.
But Thomas had a video recently about the prostate cancer, and he said that it's not surprisingly, but it's a fact that bodybuilders don't die out of prostate cancer, even though massive mega doses of androgens, not just testosterone, you know.
Yeah. So
they bomb themselves with different steroids, mega doses, and their prostate is not affected like a guy who's, you know, is 60, 70 years old, you know, overweight, low testosterone, he develops prostate cancer.
So prostate cancer is probably linked more to low testosterone than it is high.
It is a fact that low testosterone affects because there are higher estrogens also produced, and estrogens are responsible for the proliferation of the prostatic cells. That's why you need to control estrogens while on TRT. Don't let them, you know, explode, you know, go sky high no matter what.
Right.
Also, they are prethrombotic. You know, if they go super high, it can affect your mood, your duration, the duration of the erection. So we need to balance all of the hormones of respect. Everything has to be optimized.
Perfect.
Of course, it's most reasonable when you use lower than 200 milligrams of testosterone. It's less likely to aromatase. Nevertheless, you have to work by evidence and see your, check out your nipples, you know, if they're sore, you know, if you have symptoms. Also, there's prolactin comes into play, you know. GH, if you use GH, IGF-1 may lead also to vaginal, along with prolactin, low DHT also. That's why you need to use some proviron, you know.
All right, cool. Well, that's all our questions. Guys, if you'd like to see your question answered on the show, please leave it in the comments below. If you like these videos, please hit that thumbs up, the like thing. There's a bell in the corner. I want you to hit that thing too, so your notifications are turned on, do all that good stuff. We're very, very fortunate every week to have one of the few doctors in this world who has walked the walk as a champion bodybuilder, eats, trains hard, just like you guys, and he knows all the science behind supplementation, PEDs. It's a rare opportunity we have. So, Doctor, we thank you so much every week for giving the people this opportunity. Otherwise,
so I'll arrive on Wednesday. Yeah, I'll arrive on Wednesday afternoon of March 2nd.
When do I get?
You know, I'll hit the gym on Thursday, and anybody who wants to meet me, I'll stay at the Canopy Hotel. And what are your plans? Are you gonna go to the expo and to the ballroom for the semifinals and finals?
I wish. Well, it's constant work covering shows. I love it. It's just when the show's over, everyone else can go eat and go party. But if you're in the media, you're covering shows, you got a lot of work left to do, which is fine. This is our 2 big shows of the year. So I love it. You know, we get our.
Are you going to do the interviews at the expo in the booths?
Maybe, yeah. We'll see what the schedule's like. I'm looking at the schedule.
You're going to be at the meet and greet, right?
Yeah, Thursday night is the meet and greet. That's at the Hilton on the bottom floor. That's all the athletes in all the divisions. Friday, we have judging at noon on the expo stage for classic fitness and figure. Friday night, we have judging for the Arnold Classic open men and the finals for classic fitness and figure.
For the first time, it's Friday night instead of Saturday morning, evening.
Yeah, yeah. So they're kind of taking a.
They have more time to prepare, and adjust the body weight.
Yeah, I kind of like the 1 day format because that's when I started out. That's how.
Yeah, imagine the Olympia. They had 24 hours in order to adjust the water.
So they'll do that here.
They can make adjustment and improvements in a 24-hour period. Instead of 12, because it was nerve-wracking in the morning and at night. Then
not even 12, because usually judging for the Arnold was around noon, and then the guys would be on stage at like 8 o'clock that night. So they didn't have much time. But yeah, you're right. This is going to be interesting to see. This is the first time that Arnold has had a 2 day format for the open men. So yeah, we might see people change. Somebody could look like crap on Friday night and look incredible Saturday night, or vice versa. We'll see. Because at the Olympia, people go up and down in placings from judging to finals all the time.
In Greece, 80% of the results come in the prejudging. So
that's how it should be, I think.
And then the next day is just for the fans, the show, the posing and the show off things.
Yeah.
So everybody becomes super dry with diuretics in the prejudging, and then they eat a little bit to become fuller,
Yeah. I prefer it that way because you're watching the judging and you think this is how it's all going to be determined.
Sure, Ron, but if something screws up, why don't you have a second chance to improve it?
They do. I mean, that's fine.
And vice versa. If you rely on your super results on one day and you fuck it up the following day, why not to pay for this?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. You could argue it both ways, but this will be interesting. A 2 day format for the Arnold, we've never ever had that.
This is how the Olympia goes. I mean,
yeah.
You're going to reverse the.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a very good show, guys. I hope a lot of you guys make it to Columbus. If you see Dr. T or me, be sure to say hi, please. We appreciate you guys watching every week. Ask Dr. Testosterone with Dr. George Touliatos. Thank you, doctor. And guys, we will see you next time.